Hi guys, hello. I'm so excited and I hope you guys are excited too. I'm so excited because we've been planning this. We're so excited that each and every one of you guys is here. And I know I've used excited so many times, but that's because I am what? Excited. So let me introduce myself. My name is Grace Oladipo, and I am the student coordinator at APNI. And we are so happy to introduce you guys and invite you guys to develop possibilities, which is with Microsoft and APNI, our first collaboration with Microsoft. And just a little bit about APNI. So APNI was founded in 2016, and it is a non-profit organization that aims to connect. So we want to create an environment where like-minded and ambitious people can meet and connect and share information. Secondly, we want to empower. We want to empower young professionals to reach their full potential in the workplace through workshops, through mentoring, through support from other people and members and affiliates. And finally, we want to collaborate. And that is exactly what we are doing right now, collaborating with Microsoft so that we can foster a culture of sharing ideas and collaboration between individuals from diverse professional backgrounds. And since we have started, we have grown to over 3,500 members at APNI. And so why are we here, and why do we enjoy collaborating, and why do we enjoy empowering, and why do we enjoy connecting? It is simply because we realize that there is so much power when we come together and continue the conversation on diversity and inclusion. APNI as an organization really seeks to help other organizations leverage their ability to actually connect with other people from diverse backgrounds. We want to be able to make sure that other companies attract diverse talents, and we want to enable them to do so. We want to equip them to do so. And we want you guys to be able to leverage what we're doing right here tonight. Basically, develop the possibilities. It's about you guys finding out what happens at Microsoft and how you guys can apply to get a job in Microsoft, how you guys can fit into the culture of Microsoft, and how you guys as individuals can even either make your CV better, make your resume better, or actually make your application process better. So I'm so excited. I'm so happy. I'm so elated that you guys are here. I hope you guys are planning to take notes, because I am taking notes. I need all the tips and all the gems and all the wisdom that's about to drop tonight. So I'm going to hand you guys over in 2 seconds to Shegun, who has literally been so instrumental in everything happening tonight. You guys are going to enjoy the evening. So get ready, get set. Let's go. It is develop the possibilities with Microsoft and APNI.
I think Shagun, you did an amazing job, but you're on mute.
Thank you for that, Zara. I just said some magnificent things there that you guys missed. Listen, I was thanking Grace for the wonderful intro. That was so energetic. I'm super excited to be here as well. This is something we've been working on for a while, and I think Grace captured it perfectly in terms of the intro. I myself, my name is Olusegun Gbadebo, and as the slide says, I'm a sales lead here for the digital sales business for Microsoft. I am also the lead for the Africans at Microsoft network, employee network. I also lead the multicultural pillar under our diversity and inclusion council here at Microsoft. And it's an absolute pleasure to be here with all of you. At Microsoft, we continuously seek to truly represent the world that we serve, right? We have a philosophy over here at Microsoft where the team that we're building, the people we look to employ at the company, we're not looking for them to fit our culture. We're looking for them to add to our culture. And as an African myself, I know firsthand that Africans here in Ireland have so much to offer, right? I know a lot of the individuals, some of you that are on the call, are looking to build your careers. Some of you are seeking new opportunities. Some of you are looking for means to actually earn a living. And we're here to serve the community whatever way we can, right? So we've reached out to APNI, right? And in the brainstorm with APNI, two key things came out, right? We felt that people might have a misconception as to the sort of opportunities that are actually available at Microsoft. Some people think we just do tech stuff over here, right? Another thing is some people might feel that opportunities at Microsoft is actually inaccessible, that you're not able to get into Microsoft. So we're looking to address those two items on this call. And also we want to use the opportunity to share insights and skills that the people that have attended the call can take on to secure careers in other organizations. So even if you don't end up working with Microsoft, I guarantee that on this call, you'll be able to get some insights about how you can develop your career and get opportunities in other places, right? So we have a very, very packed agenda. So if we go on to the next slide, I'll quickly show you through that. So the welcome, we've done that, myself and Grace. Next, James O'Connor, who we're absolutely lucky to have on this call with us. He is the General Manager of International Operations for Microsoft, which is a big deal. So this is how important this call is for the organization. So we're absolutely lucky to have James here. He's going to give an overview of the organization and give you a feel of the different types of opportunities that we have available and the type of culture that we have at the organization. And after James, we'll have Juanita Peter, who is a wonderful lady from South Africa with an absolute variety of experience across the world. And she is a senior HR person within Microsoft, and she's going to be sharing some very interesting perspectives as an African working with Microsoft. Then I'm going to pop back in and tell you about my story and why I have chosen to evolve here at Microsoft. And then we're going to have Zara, who's a talent acquisition lead here at Microsoft. So it's wonderful to have on the call because she has the overview of the hiring process at Microsoft. So she can give you the insights and the breakdown as to what we look at from that perspective when it comes to hiring people and bringing people into the organization. And then Timmy, you don't want to miss the very last section. In that section, Timmy is going to go through some insights in terms of what recruiters look at when they're reviewing applicants for different job vacancies. So she'll be going through CVs, she's going through LinkedIn profile. She's going to be dropping a lot of insight. So you definitely do not want to miss that bit. That's the bit that you need your pen and notepad for, I believe. Then at the very end, we'll have a Q&A section. You should see on the right there should be an area for you to type in questions. So feel free to put in your questions. And at the end, what we're going to do is at the end, we'll look at all the questions coming in and then we'll address all the questions. If we feel we can address your questions right on the spot, we're going to have a moderator that's looking at that area. So please feel free and pop your question in there. It'll be nice to see. I see the attendees are filling in nicely. Can you just give us a little note? Just maybe drop a note about where you are, maybe where you're dialing in from, what part of the world, so we can get a feel of kind of the landscape in terms of the call tonight. So just pop where you're at. If you're in Dublin, we expect a lot of people will be from Dublin, but there might be some people calling in from beyond Ireland. So it'd be nice to see. So feel free to just drop in a note there so we can get a feel of what we have in the house. So as you do that, I will get ready to, we're going to play a video that's give you an overview of the organization. And then James is going to come on board and take the show away. See, I see Dublin City. There's a lot of Dublin cities in the house. That's wonderful. So, okay. So if we are ready, we will get that ready for you.
Where does inspiration come from? Where does innovation begin? Where does the future really start? Our story began in a dorm room in 1975 on a strip of paper. And from there, a vision was born. We designed technology to build, technology to grow, technology to learn, explore, and create. And we turned a world of possibility into a world of reality. But no journey is without obstacles, and our challenges only encouraged us to go further. This is a new chapter with new frontiers, new possibilities, new obstacles, and a renewed passion and vision to face them all.
It is our mission to empower every person and organization on the planet to achieve more.
All right, thank you so much, Shagan, and thank you, Grace, for the great introduction. I love your energy, and it's a real privilege to be able to talk with you all tonight and present Microsoft and give you a little bit of insights into what we do as a company, what sort of roles do we have, what's actually going on in Ireland in terms of Microsoft and what functions we have here, and what's it like, what's our culture like, and give you a little bit of insights to that as well. So as you're going to introduce me, my name is James O'Connor. I'm the General Manager for our international operations team and organization based around the world outside the US primarily, and I'm based here in Dublin in Ireland. So maybe jumping into the first slide, and I'm looking forward to getting lots of questions as well as we get through this. So first and foremost, you got a quick introduction and video of our history. The company was only founded in 1975. I think you well know one of our co-founders. He's a very famous person around the world, Bill Gates. And Bill and Paul Allen built the company initially on our initial product called Visual Basic, and that eventually became, evolved into one of our core products called Windows. That's very, very well known. And you might have saw it briefly in the video where the initial mission statement of Microsoft that Paul and Bill Gates pulled together was this, at the time, a very ambitious goal of putting a PC in every desk and in every home. And as you can imagine, in the late 70s, that was a very ambitious goal where there was very few PCs. It was the world of mainframes, and computing really hadn't reached many, many people at a broader level. And move forward, and Microsoft have absolutely fulfilled that mission. And we are now on our third CEO. So our next CEO after Bill, and when Bill focused on philanthropy and the Gates Foundation, and he became a board member and chair of the board, Steve Ballmer became CEO. And then about 6 years ago, our third CEO, Satya Nadella, who's our current CEO, took over the leadership of the company. And very quickly, we initially landed on the mission statement. So the slides are moving. If you go back to the mission statement, thanks, Jagan. On this mission statement here, which is, again, incredibly ambitious when you actually think about it for a minute. Our mission around empowering every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And there's a lot that went into that, and it's something that we live and breathe every single day in the company. All of us have our blue badge, and on the back of our blue badge with our ID and our photograph is our mission statement. And you hear a lot of Microsoft employees often refer to this. And this is around how do we use the power of technology and digital transformation to empower everybody, regardless of what background they're from, regardless of what market they're in, regardless of whether they're wealthy or poor, or regardless of whether they have a disability hidden or visible. We want everyone to participate and get value and make an impact and empower them through technology. And that includes every individual and every organization and every parts of the world And so on the planet is something that we believe very deeply in, because we still know there's billions of people out there that don't have access to technology, are not participating in digital skills and the opportunities of growing their careers, leveraging digital skills, regardless of what that is. So that's our mission statement that is very much at the center of everything we do. And then, Siobhan, if you go to the next slide, this tells a little bit more about our worldview and about our solution areas. And some of this is a little bit technical, but I wanted to give you a sense of, when you think about Microsoft, what products do you know us for? And you're probably familiar with Windows. I don't know if you're all familiar with products like our hardware business, like Surface, like our Surface Pros and our different Surface desktops. We've actually just introduced some more Surface products over the last number of weeks around the world. We just came out with our first phone, which is a Surface phone, which is like a foldable phone. So just give you a sense of what we do on the hardware side. I think you may know us in gaming, which is one of our solution areas with Xbox, and we're just literally going to market now with our latest version of Xbox, the Xbox console, and all of the gaming and online capabilities that's around that. Then from a business perspective, you'll know us hopefully for Office, and for whether it's your core products like PowerPoint, Excel, spreadsheets, etc., to SharePoint, to how we do collaboration on Microsoft Teams, which we're using right now, all the way through basically how we help everybody be productive in the workplace, regardless of whether they're working remotely or whether they're working in an office environment. And at the center of all of this, we have a product called Azure, which is really the computer of the world. That's how we think about it. It's called the Intelligent Cloud, and that's operated around the intelligent edge of all the different devices that interact with that. And so really, the slide here is just to give you a little bit of a sense of the very broad array of products and solution areas, because really when you're working with any customer right now, we're helping every customer to their digital transformation. And they're not looking to buy products from us, they're looking for solutions. And we go and work with the customer to understand what are they trying to achieve, what customers are they trying to reach out to, where are they trying to differentiate themselves, and what solutions can we bring to help them on that vision, to help them realize their strategic priorities and goals. So the solution areas give you a sense of some of that, whether it's on gaming as a reference, whether it's on modern life, how you use technology every day from a personal perspective and then from a work perspective, whether it's a modern workplace, which is really how do you make you productive in how you work, regardless of where you work. We have quite a large array of business applications, which maybe you may not be aware of. So I'm thinking about CRM solutions to run a business, and I'm thinking about ERP solutions. And for example, workplace, Salesforce.com, for example, would be one of our key competitors in that area. Applications and infrastructure, which is really everything around our Azure capability, which is really the cloud that supports so many millions of businesses around the world. And obviously AI and data, which is really now the center of what's happening around the world in terms of digital transformation. So just give you a little bit of a brief sense of some of the products and services that Microsoft have, but it's a very broad range of digital capabilities that we offer to all our customers, whether they're large, small, whether they're individual consumers around the world. And then maybe the culture then, that's been probably the biggest shift we've been going through in the last, particularly under Satya's leadership, the last 6 years. And, I'd be very open to say that, we probably were a company of being the smartest person. We hired a lot of smart individuals. It was around basically who knew it all versus who was prepared to learn it all. And we've gone through that huge shift, and we call it growth mindset in terms of the day-to-day interaction. What's the lived experience of working at Microsoft? And really is all about putting the customer at the center of everything we do. So being customer obsessed, being very, very focused on being diverse and inclusive. Really, how do we maximize all of the diverse backgrounds and experiences of our employees to make sure that we're servicing the very diverse array of customers that we take care of every day around the world. And that continues to be a huge focus for us on so many different aspects of diversity and inclusion that you hear a little bit more about as well from both Juanita and Zara later on. And how we operate as one team. But if I was to simplify the shift in the culture in the last 6 years, it probably was about being the smartest person in the room, who knew it all, and shifting that to the who's listening, who's learning, what are we learning, taking more risks, making mistakes, learning from those mistakes, and making sure we have a culture of working and supporting each other as one team, one Microsoft. And we do that by maximizing the diverse perspectives that everybody brings to the table and being highly inclusive. And that's really been the big shift in our culture over the last couple of years, and we're still on that journey. If any of you had an opportunity or not, our CEO wrote a book about 2 years ago called Hit Refresh, where he talks a lot about this cultural transformation. And he's very open in there that we're not done, and we're still on that journey. And we're not just doing it ourselves, we're doing it with our industry partners around the world, because we operate and work with thousands of different types of solution partners that work with us every day to take care of our customers. So maybe, Siobhan, if you go to the next slide, which I think is, that's one of the statements, right? So Satya summarized it very clearly. As a culture, we're moving from a group of people who know it all to a group of people who are learning it all, and prepared to take those insights and perspectives and continue to grow and develop individually and as a team. I mentioned this, so this gets a little bit technical, and I don't mean to do that on a Wednesday night, but I did want to give you a little bit of a sense. When we talk about the intelligent cloud, this is really the center of, can you imagine the volume of data that we're now generating every day on any type of mobile device and all the different devices that we interact with, and how all of those devices then basically interact with the intelligent cloud at the center. And then how do we make sense of all of that data, turn that into predictive analytics that basically help us be more productive or help us do what we need to do. And I think, you all have different scenarios that you see that in, whether it's your social media, or whether it's, how you're actually searching for different information, or just how you're actually working on your different devices, particularly now in COVID, as we're all working remotely in a lot of cases and working from home. So this is just a simple image that really demonstrates that the number of intelligent devices is growing ginormously, whether it's through Internet of Things, whether it's through different sensors and different types of devices that carry data that are highly intelligent and that are helping in a particular scenario. But then all that's feeding to the central cloud. And then really how we interpret all of that data is where AI and ubiquitous computing comes into it. So this is sort of our worldview when we think about the future transformation for all our customers, but for us individually as well. Okay, I think this is a nice video we're going to play of Emma, just to sort of demonstrate, this is a good example of where we're trying to empower every individual, regardless of whether they have a disability, in this case, Emma. This is a good example. This is just one of many examples that the team are doing every day across the company. So maybe play the video, Siobhan. Thank you.
Okay, right, I'm going to try and replicate this here. We're off to a great start. I tend to kind of just avoid doing sketching or writing now because it's not really worth it if you get something like that. Anything you could do that would just make my hand do what I want it to do and be able to sign my name would be an incredible thing.
How do we even just begin to help her overcome this particular symptom of her tremors and helping her be able to regain her writing ability, her drawing ability? So what I'm doing is I'm making a very rough prototype, and what this board does is I can connect into it through these wires, these tiny coin cell motors. So these motors will vibrate. I personally think that what this is doing is it's short-circuiting whatever feedback loop there is between the brain and the hand that's causing the tremors. So the idea is, if you are distracted by the vibration, are you able to write better? I don't know.
it's affecting something. I don't quite know what's happening.
I'm on to something, right? I'm on to something.
Oh. Oh. Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
It makes me forget that I have a tremor. I haven't drawn one of them for a long time. I've actually just written my name for like the first time in ages.
I can't believe it.
Mum, it's called the Emma.
Oh, brilliant.
It's got my name on it.
Okay, so very, very powerful. That's just an example of a number of employees coming together internally and trying to hack through what they could do differently to support Emma. And I know that's evolved into a broader set of offerings that the company are now continuing to work on. So now I'm going to move a little bit closer to home and talk a little bit about Microsoft in Ireland. This is our lovely campus in Leopardstown, just right behind the racecourse. If any of you familiar with Leopardstown in South County Dublin and the Leopardstown racecourse. We opened this campus just over 2 years ago. We're missing it greatly at the moment with COVID because many of us are working remotely and working from home to keep everybody safe until we get through this pandemic. And the picture you see here just gives a good, I suppose, indication of the energy and the volume of employees in the building. This was actually our official opening day where we had our Prime Minister and Taoiseach, Leo Varadkar, at that time with us for the official opening. We had many other dignitaries there as well. And maybe if we move to the next slide, we can talk a little bit about what we do in Ireland. And, you know, what is very unique about Ireland, maybe versus most of the other, like we operate in 90 plus countries around the world where we have subsidiaries, and we're in about 150 countries where we're actually doing business every single day. But the key difference is everything we do here is pretty much a magnitude of what we do in our headquarters, which is in Seattle, in Washington State, in the US. And we have a large campus there. And Ireland is unique because it's the only place that has the same volume of functions all in the same place, based in an international location. So Ireland is a very critical hub, an international hub for Microsoft as a corporation. And I'll just give you a brief introduction to these functions because this will give you a little bit of an indication into the types of roles and just a number of different career opportunities that are actually here in Ireland alone. You know, we have a sales and marketing team that take care of all our customers and partners in government here in the Republic of Ireland, as well as Northern Ireland. That's the sales and marketing and operations team that you see on the left. We have our international operations organization, which I lead, very close to my heart. And at a very simple level, we're the team that basically work with our engineers, our software engineers, to take their products as soon as they're ready for market. And we make sure we launch them correctly into every single market around the world, making sure that those products are ready in local currency, local language, that we can support the selling teams that operate in those countries. And then basically we manage all of the operations in terms of order taking, contract management, cash collection, financing, compliance, all of those core operational functions. So you can think about operations as the team sort of that operate supporting the sales team in the front line and our partners and customers in the front line, and then working with our product groups that are developing the products. We have a large engineering team here, and these are a number of different teams that are working on our core products. We have teams here working on Azure, working on our Microsoft 365 products, on Dynamics, on Surface, and so many different development teams that are working on different components of our products. And they are generating IP here, and they're developing very, very core components for our products that we ship around the world. Fairly new, but it's now 4 years old. There's our digital sales teams. So this is we've got 800 people in this team alone that we started from scratch about 4 years ago. Siobhan was part of this team. And these are the folks basically that are working with different customers, primarily in the small, medium-sized business segment, and a little bit higher if you think about some of the more larger customers. And they're working with them to basically help them digitally transform and sell to those customers and support those customers every day. And then we have our data centers here. So if you think about I talked earlier about the intelligent cloud and the global computer around the world. Well, we store a lot of that here. We have a significant data center. Think about our largest football, our largest Gaelic grounds here at Croke Park. Well, our data centers are multiple size times the size of Croke Park. And obviously, we keep building those out to make sure that we can stay ahead of the cloud growth and our product growth. Across all of those 5 functions, we've got about 2,500 full-time employees that work across Microsoft and in a variety of careers, from sales to supply chain to operations to finance to HR to legal to different types of software engineering teams to service engineering teams to sellers and digital sellers. The roles, we have a lot of different opportunity and roles here. And right now, just in Microsoft Ireland alone, we have 155 open roles across those functions: digital sales, engineering, sales, technical sales, operations, data center, marketing, and customer success. So that's where all our roles are open right now, 155. And you'll hear more from Zara and team a little bit more about those later on, but lots of opportunity. On top of that, we also have LinkedIn in Ireland. So I don't know if you're all aware, but LinkedIn is a company that Microsoft acquired some years back, and they also have over 2,000 people. They're based down near Grand Canal Docks, and we work very closely with them. And they're part of the Microsoft family and also part of the footprint in Ireland. So that's another large footprint. And then we have a great company called Havoc that are based near Grafton Street that are doing some leading edge software development in the area of 3D and gaming and everything that you can think about in that area that they work on. So I did that very quickly, but I wanted to give you a sense of the functions. And so when I go back to my beginning statement, which is there's no other place around the world where Microsoft has all of these functions in the same place other than our headquarters in Seattle and Washington. That's what makes it so unique. And that's what makes it a very special and critical international hub for everything we do in the company. So with that, this is just the last. I'm going to wrap up on this and hand it back to, I think Juanita's next. But this is a study we did just about 2 years ago, just to talk about the social economic impact that Microsoft is having every day in our society and in Ireland. So, we obviously do a lot to. We have a lot of indirect employment with 2,500 full-time employees, as I mentioned, but there's thousands of employees in other companies and vendor companies that are employed through Microsoft. But on the social side, we do an awful lot of work supporting education, supporting different NGOs and philanthropy. The team across the site just did an amazing cycle for Laura Lynn, which is Ireland's only children's hospice that's actually next door neighbours of ours. And they've been doing that every year over the last 6 years and raising a lot of funds for a great cause. But the one I probably also want to reference here is DreamSpace. If you haven't come across DreamSpace, this is it's an incredible space we have on our new campus where we've been focusing in on transition year kids that are in secondary school and high school. And then we've been focusing in on the kids that are in the final 2 years of primary school. And it's all about giving them a day at the campus and giving them the experience of, what sort of future careers could they have using digital technology? How can they use technology safely? And how can they use technology in a way to solve problems? And obviously with COVID, we've had to move all that to digital online. And so the team have done an amazing job providing these offerings now to the same kids at even greater scale across Ireland and doing all that digitally. We are also partnering with RTE. So every week now, there's a program going out on RTE television on our kids program to basically, again, provide some of the similar offerings. And we're going to be extending DreamSpace to other locations in Ireland, for example, in the W4 Centre in Belfast are going to be opening up in a couple of months as well. So more to come there. But there's a lot of great work that the Microsoft employees, and I think this is just a great example of the giving spirit that they all have, that they're giving back to society and really trying to make sure that we're helping Ireland become a digital hub at all levels in education and really focus on lifelong learning and the opportunity of using digital skills in lifelong learning. So with that, I went through a lot. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of an introduction to the company, give you a little bit of introduction around, you know, what our core mission is all about, what our culture is like, what we do in Ireland and how it's quite a critical hub for the company, and then the great career opportunities that we have here. So with that, I'm going to hand back to Juanita. And again, thank you so much for having us speak at your great event this evening.
Thank you so much, James. So hi everyone, I'm Juanita from South Africa. It's great to be with all of you tonight. As you heard James talking earlier about our mission, our culture and our values, this is actually quite key and quite critical to the work that I do in HR and from a diversity and inclusion perspective. I'm James's HR partner, and we partner together on executing on the people strategy and the diversity and inclusion agenda. I'm also the HR sponsor for the Africans at Microsoft Employee Resource Group, so I'm very proud of that. I just wanted to share with you my career path and how Microsoft has actually enabled me to evolve and to pursue different career paths, and also to be able to do the work that I'm passionate about and the work that I actually truly love. So I actually joined Microsoft in South Africa in 2008 as an HR business partner. I was there for about 5 years, and because I was mobile at the time, I decided to interview for a role in Singapore as for a business management role. So that actually gave me exposure not only to the Middle East and Africa region, but also to the Asia Pacific region. I moved to Singapore and then spent about 3 years there, working across different cultures as well. It's quite an interesting time in my life. I ended up in Ireland in May 2016. So as you can see, I've got experience in various regions. Added Western Europe now to my CV, which is fantastic. On the top right-hand corner, you can see that I have the Bay of tree up there. And the reason I have it up there is that for me, this tree is actually a symbol of life and possibilities. And it actually reminds me of my journey of resilience and determination, which I feel embodies the African way of life. And so while I didn't have the traditional route like most people, as in, you know, finish school, you go to university, you get a job at a big corporate, I actually had to finish school and then go straight away, you know, into the working world and pay for my own studies on the side. And you know, through sacrifice and my ability to adapt, and through my desire to actually work in different cultures, that actually afforded me the opportunity to actually move to other locations. And this road, it wasn't actually an easy road. There were loads and loads of obstacles along the way. When I moved to Singapore, I'm feeling a little bit lonely because it was my first time moving out of South Africa. I didn't have a solid foundation there in terms of friends and family and, you know, relationships. I didn't have many people that I could relate to, but in a strange way, I found that this experience actually made me who I am today. It prepared me for the opportunities that I'm and the work that I'm doing now. So the other thing that I want to talk about is how South Africa has prepared me for being open to diverse experiences and diverse perspectives, diverse cultures. As you know, living in South Africa, you get exposed to a lot of different cultures anyway, which is fantastic. And so when I moved to Singapore and Ireland, it was actually easier for me to adapt to and to make the big change, to adapt to a new culture, to a new city and to a new office. And so while I was adapting and while I was embracing the new challenges, I also communicated my interest to various leaders in Microsoft. And basically my interest was to pursue my passion in diversity and inclusion. And I was very, very interested and passionate about leading some of the programs because of my background and because the history of South Africa. I felt that I could use my platform to educate others on what it actually means to be a woman of color in Ireland. So the leaders that I worked with and the teams that I worked with enabled me to actually be my true authentic self. And so basically the message that I want to land with you today is that, as James shared earlier on, our culture of growth mindset, the ability to be able to persist in the face of setbacks, see your failures as an opportunity to learn, and then also embracing challenges. If you connect with those aspects of our culture, then you will align to the culture of growth mindset. And I just want to tell you now that I'm actually feeling really great about my career. I'm in a position now where I'm called upon, where I can influence key decision makers in the business and in HR, and also I get to influence the global diversity and inclusion agenda. And this position is really, really important to me, and I take it really, really seriously, and I'm extremely proud of it. So the key for you today is, when you're listening to me now, the guidance that I'd like to give you is that you really need to know who you are as a person, because that is actually what you need to articulate in an interview, right? So you need to articulate what you can bring to the table, what you can bring to a team, and what you can bring to a customer, and how can you help a company succeed. So with that, I will hand you over to Shagun, and Shagun is going to share his story about why he chose to evolve at Microsoft. Thank you so much.
Thanks a million, Juanita. Just made sure I muted myself there. I always find Juanita super inspiring. So I'll just share my own experience at Microsoft. Juanita, if you go into the next slide. So why did I choose to evolve at Microsoft? I suppose there's no way I can tell this story properly without going right to the very start. So I was born in Nigeria. I was born in the biggest city in West Africa called Ibadan. If you're from Nigeria, you can put a little +1 in the comment section. And at the age of 6, my mother moved to the UK. My father was never in the picture. So I had to grow up with other family members. So it was an interesting time, not growing up with my folks. However, the plan had always been that I was going to move to Europe to meet my mother. So that finally happened when I turned 16, and it was a super exciting time, right? So if any of you can relate, as an African child, there's this dream of crossing the border, going overseas. When it finally happened at the age of 16 for me, I actually went into a boarding school here in Ireland, super multicultural school. I met students from all over the world, Germany, Kenya. It was an amazing time for me, super excited. And then I stayed in Ireland, decided to study computer science in DIT, not because I was a fan of computer science, but because I didn't know what to do at the time. And I was advised that, it's a pretty safe bet in terms of a course to take up. And in taking the course, I can't say I was the most serious student, because what then happened was I started a career in music as well, right? And that was taking a lot of my attention. So I was juggling school and my music career, and I got very busy. I ended up playing pretty big shows. I played at Electric Picnic. I was quite regular on the radio on 2FM, if you know that radio station. So that was hotting up. Of course, I had to earn money as well. So I started working part-time with Dell Computers in my final year at university. This is where I really started my sales career, and it just came naturally to me. So I went on a stay with Dell as a salesperson. However, because the music was still going on and I was taking a lot of my attention, I wasn't able to focus so much at work. So that led to me leaving there. And then the music career didn't really take off, even though it seemed really promising. So I ended up back in Nigeria with zero. I had nothing. I was broke. So it was a very low time for me. And you know what I found is when you hit those low points in life, you find a certain sense of urgency, a certain sense of focus, which, to be honest, I've not come close to in a very long since that particular time. So I really had to put my head down and get really focused. And then I got the opportunity to interview with Microsoft. So I did the interview, but I didn't hear back immediately. And so what happened was I decided to focus on something else. I said to myself, even if they come back, I'm not going to take the job, right? I said I was going to focus. I was going to start a project management company, my own consultancy at the time. So I was dead on, really focused. A few months went by, a call came from Microsoft, and they offered me a role in Dubai. So being in Nigeria at the time, it wasn't an offer I could really just, turn down like that because Dubai was just so appealing. I said to myself, when am I going to get this opportunity again? And this is where my journey with Microsoft started. So got to Dubai. If any of you know anything about Dubai, it's, an amazing place, very futuristic city. So just being in that environment as a result of my role with Microsoft, and the one of the key things as in regards to why I choose to be at this organization is the global network. So from Nigeria to Dubai as a result of Microsoft. And then you get to the office in Dubai because the operation is Middle East and Africa. You're working with people from all over the world. You're able to get insights from different markets, from Israel, from Saudi Arabia, from Bahrain, from Jordan, from Egypt. And you just have access to almost the entire globe just from working with the organization. So for me, that's extremely important, and I find it super enriching. And it's one of the things I really value with this organization. One other massive thing for me was I was an account executive, sales account executive with Microsoft from Dubai, working with customers in Nigeria. And I had the opportunity to work with the most amazing customers. In terms of large scale customers, some of the customers I work with include the biggest mass organization across Europe and Africa called IHS. I was able to orchestrate and facilitate a $5 million deal with that organization. I worked with the largest payment processing company in Nigeria, arguably in Africa, InterSwitch. I worked with a massive organizations, and for me, this is something I really cherish. Just being able to play the game at the highest level and engage customers that are so massive and feel like you're actually making real impact at a very large scale. And the other thing that I really valued in being in Dubai and working at Microsoft was just the level of talent that you get to associate with. Some of the mentors I have, these are people that have been working with the organization. So someone like James, for example, having access to someone like that that's operating at a very large scale when it comes to any organization across the world, it's such a privilege to have access to these sort of individuals and learn from them and grow from them immensely. So then I'll tell you about how I ended up back here in Dublin. So there was a centralization of the digital sales operation for Europe, Middle East, and Africa here in Dublin. And I was already in talks with my manager in Dubai about becoming a manager. So the director in Dublin was a bit reluctant to take me on as a manager because she didn't know me. She had never worked with me, and she wasn't really willing to take a risk with someone that didn't have any previous experience as a manager. So I gave the feedback to my manager at the time and to some of the directors I was working with, about 4 to 5 of them. And the message from all of them was the same thing. They said to me, Shegun, or Shagun, as they would say it, don't worry about it. And they all went back to the director and basically vouched for me. And one of the directors showed me a letter, an email that he sent to the director. I kid you not, I have it kept somewhere. I read this note and it almost brought tears to my eyes. And it meant so much. So the point I'm trying to draw out of this is to be able to work in an organization where you have leaders that have your back and vouch for you and ensure they support you as much as they can to bring your growth to fruition is something that's invaluable to me. And this is something I continue to experience here at Microsoft. And in my role now as a leader in the digital sales organization, I find myself in a position to truly shape how the organization operates. But what I realize is you can do this at every level within the organization, right? So what I'd like to say is you are the organization you work for. And I'm saying that just for you to keep in mind is if you do end up in this organization or wherever you work, you have the capability to shape what that organization stands for. Because if you think about it, what is an organization or what is Microsoft? Microsoft is the people that work for Microsoft or with Microsoft, right? So you have that opportunity to really shape what an organization stands for. And for me to be able to do that at this scale, to be able to shape what Microsoft is like, for example, I was in my role as the African lead of Africans of Microsoft. I've been able to facilitate an event like this. These are things that really mean so much to me. And in terms of like my mission as a man or as a human being, it's all about evolving and making impact at the highest level. Another point I want to make is because I'm in an environment where I can be my authentic self, I'm able to comfortably showcase my other talent. I'm now at a place, because I'm so comfortable working at Microsoft, I've been able to go back into my music career, and I released an album last week called Evolution by Any Means in a way that is still getting support from people that I work with. And I feel very comfortable being able to juggle those two sides of my work with Microsoft and my music and my other passions. So this is what I want to leave you with. This is an absolutely fabulous environment to really chase your dreams. And it's one thing that our CEO says as well, is Microsoft is a place where you can actually make your dreams come true. So you can see it as an engine that exists, as a platform that exists to amplify your own dreams and make your own dreams come true. Thank you. So I will pass it on to Zara, who will then share some insights into the different roles and how the hiring process works at the organization.
Thank you, Shiga. That was amazing. I have goosebumps listening to all of you. I can hear myself, so I wonder if, yeah, that's great. Thank you. I just want to make sure that, I suppose, I give you a quick intro to me and then fly through some of the slides. I have more slides than Juanita and Shugun have, so hopefully they give you a little bit of insight. So my name is Zara Mulholland. As the slide says, I am the Talent Acquisition Manager for Microsoft Ireland. I do work on a Western Europe team. And my colleague Timmy, who is joining us, is also on the Western Europe team. We also have a reach across EMEA, and I've seen quite a number of wherever you are based, some of you in the US and some of you in Nigeria as well. So we have teams that focus globally. So I want to make sure that you understand that the roles that we talk about in Ireland specifically are Irish, but there are multiple roles accessible on our global careers site. I'll get you to move to the next slide, please, Juanita. So hopefully the stories that you've heard today have inspired you and kind of shown you the true essence of Microsoft, the opportunity that you have for reach, and then also the opportunity that you have for impact for yourself, but also within the world. I think it's quite clear that it's underpinned by our mission, but it's very clear in the stories that you've heard that the values and culture that each one of us has is very aligned to the mission of Microsoft. I think it's also very clear that everything that you've heard today wouldn't be possible without our people. That's always been our strength as a company, from when we were 1975, 13 people, right through to nearly 130,000 employees today across 120 countries globally. So today our reach is truly global, both in terms of the countries in which we have a presence, as well as the consumers that use our products, services and technology. we hire amazing people who do amazing things. And what I love about this slide is that each and every one of these people are actually real employees in these pictures. So each of them have a unique story, and it, like what you've heard from both James, Shagun and Juanita, each of their unique stories make us the company that we are today, but also the kind of company that we want to be for tomorrow. So we're focused on making sure that Microsoft's the best place to work for smart, curious people, but also that we're bringing in that learner mindset, the opportunity to have that growth mindset, and for you to have that impact across things that are important to you. Juanita, if you move to the next slide for me, that would be great. Thank you. So I think this will hopefully summarize it for you. You've heard Juanita and Shagun and James talk about culture and our values, and empowering people is what we do, but that starts with empowering our employees. At Microsoft, we have the opportunity to really achieve more and to continually grow and learn. Obviously, Shagun has highlighted the opportunity that we have within the matrix structure to be able to have access to leaders like James, and globally, other leaders are very accessible. There's plenty of opportunity for you to continue to learn. One of the questions in the very beginning was actually, do we have a learning path for each of our roles? And yes, we do. And do we hire differentiated profiles? Yes, we do. So very much so something where you have the opportunity to continually grow, learn, and have new experiences across multiple businesses. So as James touched on, we have plenty of verticals within the Irish business, which allows you to have a career that's extremely broad, right from finance right through to HR, right through from operations, digital sales, global sales and marketing, advertising, data centers, and engineering, full range of opportunities there. And we do see people that move from all of the different areas. I think now more than ever, personal connection and inclusive teams is something that's very important to us as individuals and as humans. Collaboration is very much something that underpins what we do at Microsoft, and it's key to our people's success. So you've heard us all talk about the fact that our CEO Satya talks about making Microsoft work for you, and that life should come first, essentially, and that this is really kind of hopefully giving you a little sense of what that our flexible culture and our focus on well-being, and how that dedicated support enables you to have that kind of optimized work-life balance that we all strive towards, but also that you can really use Microsoft to be that platform for you to bring your what's important to you to work as well. Juanita, will you move to the next slide for me? Thank you. At Microsoft Ireland, there's a wide range of businesses. On the left-hand side of this slide, you'll be able to see those. Hopefully we've captured all of them, but it would give you a sense for the skills and capabilities that we hire, the different types of profiles that we hire, and I'd want to kind of make sure that everyone understands that we have a range of opportunities available. So right through from university to very senior roles, we hire at all different levels, and we hire all different industry experience and capability. So just because you're in the finance industry, for instance, doesn't mean that you couldn't do a sales role at Microsoft, or just because you're in engineering doesn't mean that you wouldn't have something that you can diversify. We absolutely make sure that that's something that we're key at looking at, is kind of that inclusiveness, and also how we pull through the different capabilities. Our workloads are on the right hand side, very much something that underpins each of our solution areas, and helping us to kind of deliver on our digital transformation promise. And again, it's just to give you a little bit of flavour of the type of role types that we would have. There are too many of them for me to call out in one slide, and where I'll get you to go for that is to the global careers site, where you'll have a full list of all of the roles globally. And essentially, I suppose, with each of the different businesses that James has talked you through and that you can see on the left hand side here, we do look for the flexibility, adaptability, learner mindset. Those are the key things that kind of, as an individual, as a person, that we look for first and foremost, rather than that skills and ability. And Timmy will talk to that more in the workshop that she runs through, where it's not just about us looking at track record and experience. It's very much us thinking about how we can make sure that we're supporting you, for instance, and that also you're bringing a diverse thought into the role to help us to grow and to continue to be more diverse. Would you move to the next slide, please? This slide is focused for those of you on the call who are interested in our university program. Very quickly to kind of give you a little bit of flavour of the types of roles that we hire for. These are the different work streams for our Aspire program specifically. So we also do hire early in career into all of the different businesses across Microsoft Ireland. So I don't want you to think that these are the only roles, but for our Aspire program, which is just coming out of university, these are the roles that are open from October, and they're all on our career site at the moment. And you will be able to kind of get a deeper understanding of those. Each and every the job specs are there, but please feel free to reach out to us directly if you were looking for more information. If you move to the next slide, Juanita. So this is our global career site. You'll see you can search a job in the search bar. That I want to draw your attention to the fact on the right that you have experienced professional and students. This is the difference between the Aspire program and the industry roles. And this is where you'll be able to move to look at all the different opportunities that are open rather than us calling them out. We have everything from, as James suggested, program managers and operations, right through to cloud solution architects, and then data center engineers and technicians. So the scale of the opportunity is quite significant, and they're all housed in our global career site. And for those of you that aren't based in Ireland, obviously you can change the location also on this site. I think the next slide will probably talk to that slightly. So again, you can really go in and dig into location-wise the type of role or the industry that you're looking for. So whether it's HR, finance, and you can search and then refine it as you go further along. Making sure as well on the right top hand corner you can see sign in, that you sign in with your own profile, you put your details in there. You obviously make the choice to give us as much or as little detail as you choose within that, but you can then set up job alerts and it will make you aware of any roles that do become available so that you're constantly capitalizing on the roles as they come through. When we partnered with the APNI, they asked us to focus on demystifying our application process and really making sure that we were giving you the best kind of possible information around our global careers site, and then also how's the best or what is the best thing for you to do. So the research would say that we tend to look at a job description and rule ourselves out quicker than we would rule ourselves in. The other thing is with our job titles, they're not always something that makes sense to the external market. As much as we adapt them to make sure that they do. What I would say to you is look past the title, make sure that you're really digging into the job spec, what is in there, think about the skills and experience that you're bringing to the role and what it is that you want to learn and what's of interest to you. I think the two on the top right hand corner are the most important. Rather than ruling yourself out, think about what is it that you're looking for from your next career move. And then also the question that's normally asked is, can I apply for multiple roles? Yes, absolutely you can, but I would say to you, make sure that they're relevant. And then when you're talking to your recruiters, just be open about what it is that you're looking for and the different roles that you've applied to, because the one recruiter may be different from a different role. But I would also say to you, make sure that the job description isn't something that puts you off. Really kind of look at how your experience aligns to it and what's the transferable skill set. The next slide will talk to our interview process, and that's hopefully then where I will leave you, and I will hand over to Timmy, who will give you a lot more on skills and capabilities around competency. But this is a very kind of quick overview of what our interview process is. We try to make it as streamlined as possible, with you as the candidate, if you apply, at the centre of it, to make sure that it is something that feels comfortable for you, and then also something where you also are interviewing us to understand, is it a company that you want to join? So obviously we've talked through the apply at Microsoft.com. So it's careers at Microsoft.com. And there is two different streams in there, university and industry, just to make sure that you're looking at the right thing. The process is that the recruiters and the hiring managers will review your profile. Once you have inputted all of your details and or applied to roles, all of your applications will be visible on your action center. So really important that you're keeping updated on that, and that you don't get disheartened if you don't hear from us in a day or two. Our roles tend to stay open for 2 weeks before we would start any of the process of looking through applications, of which we get quite a significant amount. So please give us time, because we want to make sure that there's fairness and equitability within the process, but also that we are that don't feel that if we're not coming back to you within a week that it's a no. It's normally a case that we're making sure that everybody gets looked at firstly, and then secondly that we're considering you not just for that role, but also potentially for other opportunities within the business, so that we can then come and talk to you about those. This is really important, why I suppose within this process, why your CV showcases all of your skills, experience and capabilities, so that we're able to I suppose get as much from your CV as possible, and also then that it is the first brand or the first introduction of you to us. So what I would say to you is, while you can also apply with your LinkedIn profile on our career site, it does tend to be more helpful for you as a candidate to apply with your CV. The first round of interview is scheduled normally with the recruiter. It is a competency-based interview. That means that we ask you questions around your skills and experience, capabilities, but that's also where you can showcase your learner mindset, your opportunity where you would have done something differently, or how you would maybe not have the experience, but how you would develop the skill, and show your passion for the role as well. Normally we would do no more than 5 interviews, including the recruiter screen. So we gone are the days where we'd have multiple rounds and rounds of interviews. We try and make a decision fairly quickly, and depending on the business that you're interviewing for, we will do it as quickly as possible, normally within 1 day, either 2 interviews or 2 to 4 interviews over a number of days, and they are all virtual now, as Juanita touched on, given our COVID reality. But again, it's all done through Teams. It's in the exact same environment, and it allows for cameras to be on and you to have that personal connection with the hiring manager. What I'd say to you, and the advice I'd give you, is this is also your opportunity to interview us. So make sure that you're asking those questions, that you're digging in to understand more what the role is, the team is, how is it that you would kind of make that impact within the role, and what is it that you want to get out of that. With that, I'll move to the final slide. In summary, really, I think this is the most important piece for me, where our leadership is very focused on ensuring that our company is the place that has the smartest, most curious people, so that we can continue to do the work that we do. And it's very much underpinned by we hire amazing people who really do amazing things for themselves and also within the world, and underpinned by our mission. So definitely, if you're interested, please feel free to reach out to us, and I would point you to the Global Career site first, because we have very strict GDPR rules around how we can access or how we can accept any information or CVs from you guys. So please feel free to go there first, but if you have any questions, queries, we're all available at the end in the Q&A. With that, I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Timmy Saiti, to make sure that you have all of the skills necessary for the interviews that you hopefully will be doing either with us or externally in the marketplace.
Thank you, Zara. Hi everyone, my name is Tibi. I'm based in Hungary and I'm a lead recruiter in Microsoft Western Europe. Of course, as part of my job, I'm talking to a lot of candidates. So in the upcoming 10-15 minutes, I would like to guide you through a couple of tips regarding resume and some tips about how you can approach your interview experience a little bit on a different way. Talking about the CV, this is the first tangible document which is coming in the recruiter's or the hiring manager's hand. So I believe it's super important to build up a good structure around it, and then also make sure that that it is informative and gives all the information. So talking about the resume tips, I'm going to give you some ideas and also some good and bad examples what you might use when you are building up your CV. So first of all, this is a document which is showcase your brand. This is your first introduction to a recruiter or to a hiring manager. You have to make sure that you are using relevant keywords, which can also help to the recruiter to understand your area of expertise. And then, of course, course, outline your impact in a summary. This is also super important. You have to make it readable, you have to make it accurate, and with all of this is something which will tell a story about you. It's not only about what are the gained experience. This is about your achievements. You feel free to highlight your triumphs. Make sure that you are also proofread your resume. And then, of course, if you are applying for different positions, then I recommend you to tailor-made your CV. You might have a wide range of experience, but for several roles, some of the project experience might be more useful than for some other ones. So that's a good tip for sure, to tailor-made your resume. So now let's go a little bit deeper in the CV and take a look at the contact details, for example. I promised you to show some good and bad examples. Let me start with the good one. You can see a superstructure highlighted with bold characters, immediately shows what is the location, what are the contact details, and then of course, including your LinkedIn profile link, for example, can help to the recruiter or to anyone who's looking at your CV to get to know you a little bit more. On the bad example, I don't see any structure. The name is not showing up immediately. And then for the contact details, I believe this contains too many information about marital status, gender, date of birth. This is something that you can freely leave out from your contact details. So that's the first part. Then I think the next one is one of the most difficult one. This is a good summary about you. It has to show who you are, what you are able to bring to the table, what is your career aspiration, and at the same time it has to be short, crisp, punchy and informative, and need to get straight to the point. So we recommend to keep it somewhere in between 50 to 200 words maximum. And then if you see the good example, this is immediately shows that career aspiration is there. There is some experience, some information about the experience, the proven track record. So it really shows what the person is. And then if you see the bad example, it is less informative. It's really a super general introduction. And probably if someone is looking at the CV, this will not grab as much the attention as the good example. So this is about the second part. Then it comes to the experience part, which is explaining about your employment history. Again, good and bad example. I really like in the good example that structured, immediately grab the attention about the job title, about the company, about the date of the workplace. And then in the bullet points, it is showing the achievements and the impact what the person was doing in the position. If I see, as a recruiter, the first example, I see typos, I see acronyms, these misspellings, and it's not really showing what the person was doing. So I really recommend you, whenever you are creating your CV, think about using less acronyms, which is related to your current company, and then really show what were your triumphs and what were your key achievements and impact in the positions you were doing. So whenever we are talking about a CV, we cannot forget about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a little bit similar than to your CV. Oh yeah, sorry, no, this is one more slide. So whenever you are creating a CV, of course, we will talk about LinkedIn as well, but you have to make sure that if you don't have any practice and you want to build your CV from scratch, you can use some resources like the MS Office templates, and then on LinkedIn Learning as well, you can find some related material. Of course, there are some non-Microsoft affiliated resources. We are just mentioning two, Enhanced CV and ResumeNow.com, which help you to bring the good structure. As you can see here as well, there are contact details, summary, experience, education, language skills, and some of the top skills which you want to include in it. So these are good templates. Feel free to leverage it. And then, of course, if you want to create your own one, just use this as a structure and as an example. And then I think now is the time to talk about the LinkedIn. Yeah, the slide is loading. Exactly. So very similar to your CV. It has to be very catchy. The headline is including a profile picture. I recommend to make sure that you are choosing a professional photo. Any other type of personal photos, I recommend to keep it for another social media platform. And people really want to see who you are. So this picture can close up, and professional one, feel free to use your phone and create some nice profile picture which is more related to the LinkedIn professional approach. You can clearly communicate again in the headline that what you are doing, using also the keywords. Recruiters are searching a lot in LinkedIn, so the more keywords you insert in your profile, the more occasions your profile will show up. And then, of course, when it comes to the contact details, feel free to put your email address there, some customized URLs or anything which is related to your Twitter or personal blog. This will really help you to be more approachable for the recruiters or to anyone who is looking at your profile. When it comes to the summary, the only difference is that here you cannot really tailor-made it. It still needs to be your professional brand. This is how this brand is going to come live. This is going to demonstrate who you are as a person, as a professional, and as a teammate. So communicate who you are, write about your passion, write about your impact and achievement. This is always very powerful to read as a recruiter. Of course, when it comes to the experience part, it can be a little bit shorter than in the CV, especially when you are thinking about the latest jobs, what you were doing. It can be more detailed, and then the ones what you did like 5, 10, 15 years ago probably might be less relevant, so you don't need to write a super long description about those positions. And then here again, recommend you to keep the structure with approximately 4 to 8 bullet points, and that will help. Uploading photos, videos, publications, I'm not sure if you were aware about that. And then also very good option to ask recommendations from your colleagues, from your customers, and then collect skills and endorsement can also highlight your area of expertise. So the next topic is the interview best practice. Before jumping further, I would like to give you in this part a little bit of an overview about the STARS model. And I believe this will help you to understand how to structure your conversation differently when you are talking to a recruiter or when you are joining to an interview. And I'm also going to give you an idea about an interview quadrant, which will give you an overview that what are the possible areas what can be discussed during an interview. I think on the next slide, exactly the STARS model is showing. You will get a good understanding one slide later that's why we are starting with this one. But this STARS model it stands for situation, task, action, result, and self-appraisal. When a recruiter is asking you to bring example from your past, they will discuss with you the situation and with different probing questions, digging deeper in it. So during this conversation, they will focus on different competencies and they will ask you to explain what was your role in that particular project, how you collaborated with others, how you were able to influence people inside or outside of your immediate team. And then, of course, when the project is closed and finished, there is a result, and there is always a takeaway what you can have. And then this is something what the recruiters are always very curious about your self-appraisal. So here are the quadrants which I mentioned to you. You can see 4 different areas. Let me start with track record and technical knowledge and credentials. This is something which we at Microsoft not really focusing too much, but I would like to discuss this with you because some of the other companies has a little bit more old school approach, so they might focus on track record and technical knowledge a little bit more. These are mainly those things what we can see in your CV. So the track record is focusing on the gained experience and on the delivered results. So whenever you are taking a conversation about your track record, through examples from the past, try to think through your impact, use some of the examples to demonstrate how you achieved the results and what were the challenges and the outcome. About the technical knowledge, it's not only about the list, it's a C# or Java or .NET or project management, but this is really an opportunity for you to demonstrating your transferable technical capability. So whenever you think about technology, try to approach it from a different angle and make a decision or ask the question that why did you decide to learn about that technology, how it supported you in your career, how much it was fitting in your career aspiration, and then how you were using your technical capability to teach others and maybe learn from others as well. Talking about the competencies and a little bit reflecting back to the STARS model, these are exactly those situations of the experience which can demonstrate the skills or attribute that applies to the question. So whenever you are talking to a recruiter, think about it that what is the question that they are asking? So most of the questions are going to focus on a specific competency, like if you are a salesperson applying for a sales position, do you have the customer obsession, or how much you are able to collaborate with others? Build up a conversation around it and try to explain that what were the challenges, how you approached it, and what were the key learnings from it. About the values and the culture, this is the opportunity to demonstrate your own personal values and how they align to the company you are interviewing with. Think about the company cultures, if they are aligned with your values, why do you want to join the company, and showcase examples of how your values are aligned to the culture. Talking about the Microsoft values, we have respect, integrity, and accountability. Respect means for us that we recognize that other thoughts, feelings, and thinking of others are equally as important as our own. Integrity means that we are honest, ethical, and trustworthy, and accountability means that we are accept full responsibilities for our decisions, actions, and results. In the next 2 slides, I have some hopefully super useful tips for you when you are going for an interview. Make sure that you prepare. Read the job descriptions, understand what does it mean, what are the requirements, make a research about the company, whatever you can find, it can be super useful. Come with some prepared examples based on the job description where you can prove your fit to the relevant competencies, and then of course communicate clearly and be proactive and prepare with some questions. This is super important. On the next slide, some additional further tips I'm happy to share with you. I believe it's not a surprise that recently we are mainly focusing on remote interviews and not the personal ones. So before the interview, not 5 minutes in advance, but maybe a few hours before, please check what are the technical requirements, the applications they ask you to use, and then make sure that if it's needed, download these on your PC. Be there on time. Feel free to have a copy of your resume. This is a kind of cheat sheet you can use if you are excited and you cannot answer some questions quickly. And then, of course, share your relevant experience based on your understanding about the position. Be honest and authentic, but never forget that this is still a business environment and a business conversation. And then, of course, show your interest, enthusiasm, and passion. So I hope I didn't overload you with too many tips and tricks, but there is one more which I wanted to share, is that no matter what, just enjoy the interview journey and make sure that you are asking as many questions as you want. Make sure that you are enjoying all of the conversations. So whenever you are going to get an offer, you can accept it with high level of confidence. Thank you.
Thank you, Timmy. Hopefully that has given everybody food for thought and everyone is furiously writing down notes. To answer one of the questions that was in the IM, yes, we will be sharing the deck, and the APNI will share it afterwards in a follow-up email, so you will have the information that Timmy has run through that'll hopefully support you with both your CV and interview skill set. I'd like to invite you guys to use the IM to ask us any questions that you would like based on any of the content today. I will touch on John's question. I've already answered it in the IM, but do we consider applications from candidates from non-traditional paths, i.e. candidates without a degree, in the vacant role? So yes, we do. Having a degree is not a requirement for any of the roles at Microsoft, except for the more technical ones, which will be outlined in the job description if it is a requirement for the role. But any of our sales operations businesses, no, there is not a requirement for you to have a degree. And yes, we do hire from differentiated backgrounds, profiles, industries, which will allow you to maybe make a career change if that's what you're potentially asking the question around. While I'm waiting for any other questions to come in, I'm just going to touch on Kira's question, which is, does Microsoft offer courses to employees another path, i.e. different from the current job, into the company? So we have launched a Global Skills Initiative, which is a reskilling program, which is a global program. There will be updates to that individually, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But at this point, there is a global reskills program, which focuses more on our technical and engineering businesses to kind of drive that upskilling. If we have specific areas that you go into, so for instance, you saw James and I both touched on slides that talked about our 6 different workload areas. You have training around each and every one of those. There is technical training for our sales people. So each of the work streams that you would come into would have a very specific onboarding program, which gives, I suppose, very structured training. And then as you continue in role and as you continue to grow your career, there's very structured training for each of the different role types. As you continue to progress, and also then on an annual basis to make sure that we're very much pivoting on the learning piece that's important to our culture. So absolutely. And then the final thing that I'll say is LinkedIn is obviously owned by Microsoft, so you have access to LinkedIn Learning and an in-depth kind of library of programs that you can utilize there, from anything from kind of how to code right through to project program management. So I'm just looking at some of these questions. I looked at the career page and didn't see accounting graduate programs. Do you run any of these? So no, we don't run accounting graduate programs if you're looking to do your ACCAs. We don't support ACCA graduate programs. There are finance roles that would be more early in career, but we don't have a huge finance area. So the role types would tend to be more senior in our finance business. However, if it is something specifically that you're looking to do your ACCA, know that we don't offer those. I hope that helps you. Do you consider folks who do not have European experience in the Irish office, especially for roles such as sales? Absolutely, yeah, we do. You don't necessarily have to have experience in one particular business or another, or one particular market or another. I think Shagun's career is probably testament to that, where, you know, he maybe wasn't working. He touched on that he worked in Dell and was in different markets. Then obviously went to Dubai and was working in MIA, continues to work at MIA now, but that wouldn't necessarily mean he had to stay in that discipline. The market isn't necessarily important. It's about the skills and capabilities that you would bring to the role. Do you need to have a specific grade in college before you can apply for a role? No, absolutely not. We look for skills, capabilities. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but learner mindset, agility, ability to flex and be adaptable, We don't look specifically for degrees. We don't look specifically for technical capability unless the role does require it. There are roles in Microsoft that are far beyond my brain capacity within kind of engineering, research and development. Those types of roles, absolutely, we look for degrees and we would look for certain grades. But at this point, no, that's not something that we would look for the recruitment process. And the job description will call it out absolutely within there, so make sure that you have a look. Okay, so and I'm sorry to my colleagues on the call. All these are sitting with me, but please feel free to jump in.
I can call out questions and you can answer them, Zara.
Okay. Okay. So I can continue to publish them as they go. So what time is suitable for another application after receiving a rejection email? Timmy, do you want to answer that?
Sure, absolutely. So there is no limitation, I would say. As Zara already mentioned, you are free to apply to as many positions as you would like on our global career site. As she also mentioned, please make sure that these are relevant and you have a good direction in the career you would like to heading towards. So actually, if you applied for a position and you already went through on an interview and you got a rejection, this again might help you when you are connecting to the next recruiter for a next position to refer that you already had an interview. So please feel free to apply anytime you would like.
The other thing I would say to you is if you get a rejection for one role, it's unusual that you would get a rejection for Microsoft in total. So if it is something that you're interested in other roles, please feel free to express that to the recruiter at the time. There is, if you apply to one role, there are very strict rules where we can't consider you for other roles unless you give us your permission. So do feel free to make that known to the recruiter. Okay, so against 2021, when does the university recruitment program open? So for next year, just so I can clarify, if it's to start next year for post college coming out, graduating in 21, the application process would be now. It starts in October, and that would be done kind of a significant amount of time in advance, offer-wise, and then obviously that runs annually. So for next year it will be the same time, October, if you're based in Ireland, but it's in and around the kind of now time, September, October, that those programs would open. And again, they're on our career site. I would suggest that you set up a action center with alerts specifically for the role types that you're interested in, and it will let you know when they come through. Do you have intern programs for students, or is it just those who have graduated? Anita, do you want to take that question?
Yeah, we do have intern programs across various skill sets. So we have intern program for engineering. It's a 3-month internship program for software engineers and site reliability engineers and program managers. We also have intern program for operations as well as digital sales, and also our global sales and marketing organization. Those intern programs is anything between 6 months to a year, depending on your availability and where you are within with your studies. So yes, we do.
So I have another question. How can students make themselves stand out to Microsoft during applications? I'm currently taking an SEO on Microsoft Excel course to make myself more skillful.
I'll ask Shagun to answer that one.
Yeah, sure. So listen, there's a plethora of different training courses available online. If you go on edX, a lot of them are actually free. We're also working internally on certain programs for certifications, so we'll be making those available hopefully in the near future. But if you go online, there's multiple options for certification programs. Maybe what we can do is we can collate a few options when we're sharing the slides for this presentation.
Yeah, just LinkedIn Learning resource for that. And then I would also kind of say to you, use some of the skills that Timmy has highlighted around your resume to kind of really make sure that you're utilizing any experience that you've had. So even if it's a case that you've worked in a bar previously and you've upsold products, make sure that that's in there. That's really important, that you're showcasing all of your experience to date, and that you're doing it in a way that's kind of really clear and concise on the CV. And also then if you're interviewing, I would say to you, really plan those interview examples. You know, kind of think about the questions that you're going to be asked. Use the information that Timmy has given you so that you're really doing that. We still do that at this stage in our careers. So if you're doing it as an intern, or if you're doing it as an early in career, as a university person, make sure that you're really preparing for those interviews. It's where you're kind of putting your best self forward. Can a recent graduate apply for an internship role asides the graduate roles? So no, the intern roles that we have are for those that are in college. They come into us in a stream and they do a certain time frame. It's normally 12 months, and then they would go back to college usually. So the requirement is normally that it's a 12 months and that you haven't graduated. However, there will be all of the job specs will highlight exactly what the requirements are and what the kind of terms within or the parameters within what we look for. Do we have any roles in media and communications? Juanita?
We don't have any open vacancies in those areas. All our positions have been filled. But yeah, do look out on our career site, and we will be posting regular updates on all our open vacancies across all disciplines.
And when we talk about media, our MSA businesses are marketing, search and advertising. So they look for media profiles as well. So just depending on what it is that you're actually interested in, versus if you're looking for a role that's in search advertising or kind of coming from a digital background, then absolutely that's an area that you could focus on also. I would point you again, what Juanita said, towards the career side, but to the action center and alerts is going to be key for that. This has been a fantastic session so far. Please, does Microsoft lay more emphasis on work experience or academic qualification? Hopefully, I think we've answered that, but it would be on work experience, the skills and capabilities that you would bring from what you've already had. And then also, if you haven't had significant amount of work experience, it's really about the, to Shagun's point earlier, the culture add that you're bringing to the organization. So the differentiated thought and the opportunity for you to show your learner mindset, where you've had experiences and you've been able to learn from them or think about how you would do things differently. That's really applying that STARS models again, the S in that Timmy touched on, but that's really what we would look for. Go on.
So the question that I wanted to cover quickly is how good scopes for data science and AI in the Dublin office. So yeah, we've got loads of engineering roles that very much specializes in the data science and AI space. So you can go online, as we said earlier on, and you can find out what opportunities we have. We've got 155 roles, predominantly in engineering and in digital sales. So if you're looking for a role in sales that focuses on one of our business applications like AI or data science, the opportunities would be posted there as well. Okay, I think we've covered all the questions.
No, I see one that's come in there around 3 to 4 years of, can 3 to 4 years of experience be a downside for graduate roles as a master graduate? Zara, what do you reckon?
I don't understand the question really. Sorry.
I think it's, can someone who has already graduated and has 3 to 4 years of experience be considered for graduate roles? My interpretation of the question. Yeah. Please let me know if it's not right. So the answer is no, we don't. If you're 3 to 4 years experience, you're outside of the parameters for what we call our Aspire program. However, we do hire early in career into all of the disciplines across Microsoft. So absolutely, we'd be very interested in connecting with you. The digital sales business has open early in career roles at the moment in both sales, technical sales, and customer success. And the engineering organization, it depends on the type of role that you're looking for, the discipline, as I said, and what your degree is in. But absolutely, you would still be considered for our industry roles, but not for the Aspire roles at that time.
Yeah, and listen, 3 to 4 years experience, you know, you don't want to just throw that away either. You know, there's a lot of value you've probably gained in that time period. So don't shortchange yourself, and don't let it, for whatever reason, distract you from applying for the roles you're interested in that are not necessarily graduate roles.
Yeah, that's very good advice, Shugun. Yeah.
Cool, I think we're good.
I think we are. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
I think it's your call to close.
No, it's actually Newbie.
Yes, of course.
APNI, so I'm going to bring him in.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Very well, very well. You're live, sir.
Awesome. So first of all, I want to say a big thank you to everyone that's presented, starting from Grace for bringing the energy to kick us off a couple of hours ago. A big thank you to James as well for giving us an expose really into life, culture, work, mission, and impact at Microsoft. I was asking who was cutting some onions because I was shedding some tears for the Emma video there.
Yeah.
It really shows the great work that is happening within the walls of Microsoft. So thanks for that. Thanks Juanita and Shegun as well for sharing your stories. I think it's very easy to get lost in the numbers of, oh, we have X number of employees, but these are human beings, and so thanks for you really humanizing again what it means to work at Microsoft as well. And then finally, Zara and Timmy, thank you so much for shedding out on the opportunities that exist and also how to get ready and really position oneself for those opportunities. So really appreciate the in-depth and really masterclass, if you will, for your sessions. Again, a big thank you to Microsoft. We do look forward to continue to partner with you. Hopefully, this is the start of many events and initiatives together. But again, thank you for partnering with us as we celebrate Black History Month this month as well. A big thank you to the APNI folks as well. For those who attended this event, I hope you got some value. I was taking some notes down myself. So I hope everyone got some value from this. A big shout out to the organizing team as well, who worked behind the scenes in partnership with Microsoft to actually put this together. I know there will be some questions. That's why, okay, what are the next steps here? We'll be sending out the survey to all attendees, as well as, again, like we mentioned, the slides and more resources. And so you can use that to engage with us further as well if you have any questions. And then I want to plug an event for tomorrow, so it's not all done. We have another event with Microsoft tomorrow. It's called Adaptable, and so it's a workshop on adapting. As you know, it's very interesting times with COVID, and so businesses need to actually think about how we adapt. And so we'll be exploring that, how to adapt, how to grow your business. So if you're a startup, if you're an entrepreneur, or a business owner, whether you're currently one or you're again aspiring to be one. I think that's one event for you to attend. So do check out APNI Island on Twitter or Instagram for the link to register in bio. Again, that's it from all of us. I'm Newbie, president of the APNI, and please do engage with us. Thank you so much, everyone on the call. Again, really appreciate your time this evening. And again, I hope it's the start of many other initiatives. Have a great evening, everyone, and thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.